Friend, let me take you gently into a story. And as I speak, imagine the lights of a stage warming your face, while my voice moves slowly, like a calm river carrying hope forward, guiding you toward the version of yourself you've always wished to meet. The version who believes in their mind, their growth, and their bright future with a soft smile. Learning English in 3 months did not come from magic, but from a quiet decision made in an ordinary moment. A decision whispered from the heart, saying, "I am ready to change, and I am willing to show up even when nothing feels easy." In the beginning, I was like anyone else, unsure, a little nervous, sometimes even embarrassed. But those feelings are gentle reminders that we are stepping into something new, and they help us grow stronger each day. So I told myself to breathe, to slow down, to walk into the journey with patience. And every time doubt appeared, I answered it with a soft voice saying, "Stay with me. We're learning. We're becoming. We're moving forward." Every morning I would speak a few words out loud, not perfectly, not bravely, just honestly, letting the sounds roll across the room until my tongue felt lighter and my mind felt warmer toward the language. Some days the words flowed like sunlight, soft and bright, and other days they felt heavy or confusing. But growth is not measured by perfection. It is measured by presence, by showing up even when you feel unsure. I learned to treat English like a friend, meeting it a little every day, listening gently, speaking slowly, welcoming mistakes as teachers who visit only to help you rise with a clearer mind. Whenever frustration tried to tighten my chest, I paused, breathed deeply, and reminded myself that every skill feels impossible before it becomes familiar, and the heart becomes stronger each time it chooses patience over panic. There were moments when a single sentence felt like climbing a mountain, but each small step carried me upward, and soon I saw how even tiny pieces of progress create powerful change when repeated calmly. Sometimes I whispered new words while walking, letting them dance through the air like small seeds learning how to grow inside my memory. And with each repetition, they felt a little more like they belonged to me. Reading became a quiet ritual in my evenings, a gentle space where I allowed stories to teach me without pressure, letting every paragraph shape the rhythm of my thoughts and widen my understanding. Listening became another doorway, and I spent minutes each day hearing voices flow in natural English, noticing their tone, their pauses, their rise and fall, until my own speech slowly learned to follow their music. I discovered that the mind learns fastest when it feels safe, so I stopped judging myself and started cheering for the smallest victories, a single new phrase, a clearer pronunciation, even one moment of courage. Each time I felt lost, I remembered that confusion is not a sign to quit, but a sign that your mind is expanding, stretching into new shapes, preparing itself for the next level of understanding. Some days I practiced speaking to the mirror, watching my expressions soften, noticing how confidence grows not from being perfect, but from staying present, warm, and willing to try again. On weekends, I created little conversations in my mind, imagining how I would speak to a stranger or a friend. And this simple habit made real conversations feel lighter, almost welcoming. I learned that language grows through repetition, through gentle practice, through tiny daily steps. And when those steps are taken again and again, the mind eventually blooms like a quiet sunrise. There were days when motivation faded, leaving me tired, but consistency held my hand, reminding me that small efforts done daily build stronger futures than one big burst of effort once in a while. And slowly, almost quietly, I noticed myself thinking in English, feeling in English, responding in English. And that tiny shift felt like stepping into a new world filled with possibility. With time, my voice became clearer, my sentences smoother, and the fear that once controlled me softened into a gentle memory, replaced by pride, by gratitude, by steady inner strength. I realized that learning English in 3 months is not about rushing. It is about intention, patience, courage, and the willingness to show up gently every single day without running from discomfort. The truth is, you don't need perfect grammar or a large vocabulary to begin. You only need a willing heart, a curious mind, and the calm belief that improvement will come as surely as sunrise. And step by step, with warmth and patience, I became fluent enough to express my thoughts, my feelings, my dreams. And that alone felt like a quiet victory I could hold close forever. As I moved deeper into the journey, I realized that learning English was never only about words. It was about shaping my identity, expanding my world, and opening doors I once believed were locked. Every time I practiced, I wasn't just memorizing vocabulary. I was teaching my mind to trust itself, to believe in its ability to rise above limits and step into light. There were days when old habits whispered doubts, telling me this is too hard or you're not ready. But I answered gently with patience, reminding myself that every master was once a beginner. When I made mistakes, I didn't punish myself. I smiled softly, because mistakes are signs of movement, proof that I am bravely stepping beyond comfort into the space where growth happens. I learned to keep a notebook where I wrote every new word slowly, allowing my hand to connect with the meaning, because writing builds memory, and memory builds confidence. Sometimes I read those pages at night and felt a quiet pride rising in my chest, knowing that each line represented effort, intention, and discipline, the true partners of transformation. Listening became a daily medicine for the mind, a gentle way of absorbing tone, rhythm, and flow. And every time I listened, my understanding grew a little deeper without forcing anything. Speaking became less frightening when I remembered that nobody becomes fluent by staying silent. and even shaky sentences are brave steps toward a stronger, more natural voice. I practiced small conversations with strangers when possible, even if just a few words, and each moment of courage loosened the fear that once held my voice tight inside. Sometimes I watched English videos with subtitles, letting my eyes and ears work together, and slowly this harmony created new pathways in my mind that made learning feel natural. Reading short stories became a habit that brought calmness, helping me understand how sentences breathe, how ideas flow, and how emotions can be carried gently through simple language. I was surprised by how different English felt once I stopped chasing perfection and started chasing connection, allowing myself to enjoy the process rather than fear judgment. There were moments when I felt progress blossoming unexpectedly, like when I understood a movie scene without subtitles. And that small victory felt like a warm light inside my heart. Even during busy days, I protected a few minutes for English, because small steps taken consistently create results that big steps taken rarely can never accomplish. I learned to celebrate the small wins, like pronouncing a difficult word correctly, understanding a fast sentence, or expressing my thoughts clearly, because these moments fuel long-term progress. Whenever my motivation wavered, I reminded myself of the person I was becoming, someone stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. And this vision pulled me gently through every challenge. English was no longer just a skill. It became a companion, a friend walking beside me through my growth, teaching me discipline, patience, and courage with every lesson. Some nights I sat quietly, repeating phrases until they felt natural in my mouth, letting my voice soften into the language like water shaping into a new container. I found that speaking slowly helped build clarity, and clarity built confidence. And confidence became the foundation that supported my entire 3-month transformation. The journey taught me the value of persistence, that beautiful force that moves us forward even when emotions are low, helping us rise through discipline rather than waiting for inspiration. As my understanding deepened, I noticed myself thinking smoother thoughts, forming clearer sentences, and feeling more at home in the language that once felt impossible. The change wasn't loud or dramatic. It was gentle, steady, growing quietly beneath the surface, like roots preparing a tree for strong, beautiful growth. With each passing week, I felt a shift inside me, a sense of progress that no one else could measure, but I could feel deeply, like warm encouragement rising from within. I realized that learning English wasn't about speed. It was about sincerity, showing up with a willing heart, practicing with curiosity, and trusting that every effort creates momentum. And slowly, the language wrapped itself around my thoughts, my feelings, my expressions, becoming part of me in a way that felt natural, almost inevitable, after weeks of steady practice. Looking back, I understood that I didn't just learn English. I learned discipline, patience, confidence, and courage, the deeper gifts that follow anyone who commits sincerely to growth. As I approached the last stretch of my 3-month journey, something inside me felt different, calmer, wiser, almost as if a new version of myself had quietly awakened. The language that once felt heavy now moved through me with softness, and every sentence I spoke carried a little confidence, a little warmth, a little pride. I realized that learning English wasn't only about discipline. It was about discovering the strength hidden inside my daily choices, choices that shaped my growth with gentle determination. Every evening I looked back at my day and smiled softly at the small efforts I made, knowing that every tiny step added up to powerful transformation. I understood that fluency is not a sudden achievement, but a slow, loving partnership with patience, allowing progress to happen naturally without rushing the heart. And with each passing day, my fear faded like morning fog, replaced by a quiet courage that whispered, "You are learning. You are growing. You are becoming." I watched myself speak longer sentences during conversations, not perfectly, but with a steady tone that showed I was no longer afraid of expressing my thoughts. Sometimes I stumbled. Sometimes I paused, but these moments no longer felt like failures. They felt like proof that I was moving forward with honesty. Every mistake became a friend, teaching me where to focus, and every correction became a soft encouragement, guiding me toward deeper understanding. I discovered that the mind opens fastest when we stop doubting ourselves, and once I believed in my ability, English began flowing with surprising ease. Reading became a soothing part of my routine, a quiet doorway into clearer thinking, and each book helped me feel more connected with the language and with myself. Listening helped me understand how people breathe through their words, and gradually that rhythm shaped my own voice, helping me speak with calm confidence. Writing helped me organize my thoughts, and each sentence I wrote felt like planting seeds of clarity that grew deeper with every passing week. Speaking became less like a task and more like a gentle dance, a slow and steady way of letting my inner voice express itself without fear of being imperfect. And slowly, I realized that the real victory was not learning English fast. It was learning how strong and capable my mind becomes when I commit to change. This journey taught me that growth happens not because we are special, but because we show up, even on days when energy feels low and motivation feels far away. It taught me that patience is not waiting, but trusting that consistent practice shapes every part of who we become in ways we cannot see immediately. And when the 3 months came to an end, I did not feel like I reached a finish line. I felt like I opened a new door that would stay open forever. because now English was not just a skill, it was a companion I had grown with, a language that taught me courage, discipline, and emotional strength. I stood there, looking back at my journey, feeling a gentle pride rising in my chest, knowing that every step, no matter how small, helped shape the person I became. The truth is, anyone can learn English in 3 months if they approach it with softness, consistency, curiosity, and a heart that refuses to give up. And the deeper truth is that this same mindset can change every part of your life, helping you grow through challenges with strength and quiet determination. So if you are beginning your own journey, hold your heart softly, breathe with patience, and trust that every word you learn becomes a stepping stone on your path. Speak even when your voice shakes. Read even when your eyes feel tired. And practice even when your mind whispers doubt. Because growth lives inside these gentle moments. And one day, sooner than you expect, you will stand with the same calm pride, realizing that the impossible was simply the unfamiliar, waiting to become your new normal. I hope this story reminds you that you are capable, you are strong, and your future shines brighter each time you choose to take one small, honest step forward. Learning English in 3 months was not the end of my journey. It was the beginning of becoming someone who believes deeply in their own ability to rise. And my friend, as you walk forward, remember this truth softly. You can become anything when you stay patient, stay present, and stay committed to your quiet daily growth.